The sunlight streamed through the stained glass windows of Hayes Manor, painting the polished oak floors in kaleidoscopic hues. 10-year-old Ethan Hayes, perched precariously on a window seat, traced the intricate patterns with his small fingers. He hummed a tune he'd heard his mother, Eleanor, play on the grand piano downstairs. Life at Hayes Manor was exactly that, grand, serene, and seemingly impervious to the harsh realities beyond its wrought iron gates. His father, Marcus Hayes, a celebrated architect whose designs graced skylines across the globe, was Ethan's hero. Marcus was a man of quiet dignity, a pillar of the community, and a loving father. Or so Ethan believed. Eleanor, his mother, embodied grace and compassion. She volunteered at local charities, often taking Ethan with her, instilling in him a sense of responsibility and empathy. Life, Ethan thought, would always be this way, a tapestry woven with love, security, and unwavering purpose. This idyllic existence, however, was a fragile facade, a carefully constructed illusion about to shatter into a million pieces. 15 years later, the gilded cage that was Hayes Manor felt suffocating to Ethan. He was now a bright, ambitious young man, studying business at Stanford, but restless and yearning for something more than the preordained path laid out for him. He respected his father's architectural legacy, but Ethan felt drawn to the world of finance, to the cutthroat deals and the potential for immense influence. Marcus, while initially supportive, subtly steered Ethan towards a role within the Hayes architecture firm, subtly nudging him towards continuing the family dynasty. Their relationship, once a bedrock of unwavering admiration, began to show the faintest of cracks. Ethan spent his summers interning at Hayes Architecture, ostensibly learning the ropes, but truly feeling like an outsider. He excelled in his studies, devouring books on investment strategies and market analysis in his spare time. He knew he had a sharp mind, a keen understanding of numbers, and a drive to succeed that surpassed even his father's ambition. During one such summer internship, a chance encounter with a disgruntled IT employee named Ben sparked Ethan's suspicion. Ben hinted at financial irregularities within the company, whispering about offshore accounts and questionable transactions. He urged Ethan to look deeper, to uncover the truth behind the Hayes architecture empire. Ethan initially dismissed Ben's claims as the ramblings of a disgruntled employee. But the seed of doubt had been planted. Driven by a growing unease, Ethan began to investigate. He using his technical skills to bypass security systems, accessing restricted files on his father's computer. The more he dug, the more alarming the discoveries became. He found meticulously crafted spreadsheets detailing the diversion of funds to shell corporations in the Cayman Islands. Contracts were falsified, invoices were inflated, and illicit payments were masked as legitimate business expenses. The evidence was damning. Then came the truly shattering revelation. Hidden deep within a series of encrypted files, Ethan discovered a separate life his father had been carefully concealing for years. Photos, emails and travel itineraries pointed to a woman named Mei Ling in Hong Kong. There were children. A whole second family. The weight of the discovery crushed Ethan. How could his father, the man he admired above all others, be capable of such deception? The perfect facade of Hayes Manor crumbled before his eyes, revealing a labyrinth of secrets and lies. The idyllic past was a carefully constructed artifice, built upon a foundation of betrayal. His carefully constructed world had become a prison with walls built from fraud and deceit. Ethanol felt his entire identity shaken to its core. He was no longer Ethan Hayes, the privileged son of a celebrated architect. He was merely a pawn in a much larger, much more sinister game. He confronted his father. The denial was short-lived. Marcus, cornered and exposed, confessed everything. He justified his actions as necessary for the survival of the company, claiming that the financial pressures of maintaining the Hayes architecture legacy had forced him to make difficult choices. He pleaded with Ethan to remain silent, to protect the family name. But Ethan, consumed by a mixture of rage and devastation, could not bring himself to condone his father's behavior. He felt betrayed not only by his father, but by the entire system that had allowed such a charade to persist for so long. His mother, Eleanor, was devastated by the revelation. The image of the doting wife, the gracious hostess, shattered, replaced by a woman struggling to reconcile her idealized image of her husband with the cold, hard reality of his deceit. She retreated into herself, withdrawing from Ethan and from the world. Ethan resolved to expose his father's crimes, regardless of the consequences. He meticulously gathered the digital evidence, creating secure backups and sharing copies with trusted contacts outside the family. He knew that going public would destroy the Hayes family and his own future, but he felt a moral imperative to bring the truth to light. He anonymously contacted investigative journalists at the San Francisco Chronicle. He provided them with the evidence and guided them through the labyrinthine financial records. He knew that his actions would unleash a media storm, but he was prepared to face the consequences. The story broke. Hayes architecture scandal, architect accused of fraud and bigamy. The headline screamed from the front page. The city erupted in outrage. Marcus Hayes, once a celebrated figure, became a pariah overnight. His contracts were cancelled, his awards were revoked, and his reputation was shredded beyond repair. Hayes architecture teetered on the brink of collapse. The authorities launched a full-scale investigation, seizing assets and filing criminal charges against Marcus. He was arrested and faced the prospect of years in prison. The media descended upon Hayes Manor, transforming it into a battleground for tabloid sensationalism. Eleanor, overwhelmed by the scrutiny, suffered a nervous breakdown and was hospitalized. Ethan watched the fallout from afar, feeling a mixture of satisfaction and profound guilt. He had achieved his goal of exposing his father's crimes, but at what cost? He had destroyed his family, shattered his mother's heart, and ruined his own life. He felt isolated, haunted by the consequences of his actions. His former friends, eager to distance themselves from the scandal, shunned him. He lost his place in the social circles he had once effortlessly navigated. He was branded as a traitor, a parricide, the son who had destroyed his own father. Ethan dropped out of Stanford. He was consumed by the scandal and unable to focus on his studies. He drifted aimlessly, taking odd jobs to survive, feeling adrift in a sea of uncertainty. He cut off all contact with his family, unable to face the pain and recriminations. He found solace in anonymity. He moved to a small, run-down apartment in a less affluent neighborhood, trying to escape the shadow of his past. He worked as a barista, serving coffee to strangers, finding a strange sense of comfort in the mundane routine. But the past refused to stay buried. He was plagued by nightmares, haunted by the image of his father's betrayed face and his mother's heartbreak. He knew that he could never truly escape the consequences of his actions. One evening, while watching the news, Ethan saw a report about the closure of a community center in his neighborhood due to lack of funding. The center provided vital services to underprivileged children, offering after-school programs, meals, and a safe haven from the streets. Ethan, feeling a pang of guilt and a flicker of hope, decided to visit the center. He met Maria, a dedicated social worker who had devoted her life to helping the children. He saw the passion in her eyes, the unwavering commitment to making a difference in the lives of those less fortunate. He was deeply moved by her dedication and inspired by the resilience of the children. He began volunteering at the center, helping with tutoring, organizing activities, and providing emotional support to the children. He found a sense of purpose in their smiles, in their unwavering spirit. He began to feel a glimmer of hope that perhaps he could somehow redeem himself, that he could find a way to turn his pain into something positive. Ethan continued to volunteer at the community center, immersing himself in the lives of the children and the challenges they faced. He witnessed the systemic inequalities, the lack of opportunity, and the despair that pervaded their community. He realized that his own privileged upbringing had shielded him from the realities faced by so many others. He began to use his financial knowledge to help the center secure funding. He wrote grant proposals, organized fundraising events, and leveraged his remaining contacts, those few who hadn't completely abandoned him, to secure donations. He discovered a talent for connecting with people, for inspiring them to give generously to the cause he believed in so deeply. He also enrolled in night classes, studying social work and community development. He wanted to gain a deeper understanding of the issues facing the community and to develop the skills necessary to make a lasting impact. His mother, Eleanor, after a long period of emotional recovery, reached out to Ethan. She still felt hurt and betrayed by Marcus, but she recognized Ethan's genuine desire to make amends. She had begun attending therapy and found a sense of purpose in volunteering at a local hospital. She apologized for her initial coldness toward Ethan, acknowledging that he had acted out of principle, even if his actions had caused immense pain. She expressed her pride in his commitment to helping others and vowed to support him in his efforts. Together, Ethan and Eleanor began to repair their relationship. They spent hours talking, sharing their feelings, and rebuilding their fractured bond. Ethan learned about his mother's hidden strengths, her unwavering compassion, and her resilience in the face of adversity. Marcus, after serving a reduced sentence due to his cooperation with the authorities, was released from prison. He was a changed man, humbled by his experiences and filled with remorse for his actions. He had lost everything: his fortune, his reputation, and his family. He reached out to Ethan, seeking forgiveness. Ethan was initially hesitant. He harbored deep resentment towards his father. But seeing the genuine sorrow in Marcus's eyes, he realized that holding on to anger would only perpetuate the cycle of pain. He agreed to meet with his father. The meeting was fraught with tension and emotion. Marcus confessed his sins, acknowledging the damage he had caused to his family and to the community. He spoke of his regret, his shame, and his desire to make amends, however futile it might seem. Ethan listened patiently, allowing his father to unburden himself. He realized that Marcus was not the monster he had once believed him to be, but a flawed human being who had made terrible choices. He offered his father a tentative gesture of forgiveness. He knew that rebuilding trust would take time, but he was willing to give him a chance. He believed that everyone deserved a second chance, even his father. Ethan, with the support of his mother and, eventually, a cautiously welcomed Marcus, expanded his philanthropic efforts. He founded the Hayes Foundation for Community Empowerment, dedicated to providing educational opportunities, affordable housing, and job training to underserved communities. He leveraged his business acumen to attract donors and secure funding. He used his knowledge of real estate to acquire and rehabilitate abandoned properties, transforming them into safe and affordable housing for low-income families. He developed innovative job training programs, providing residents with the skills and resources they needed to find meaningful employment. He recruited a team of dedicated staff and volunteers, many of whom had been directly impacted by the programs he had created. He fostered a culture of empathy, respect, and collaboration, empowering his team to make a difference in their communities. Eleanor played a vital role in the foundation, leveraging her social connections and her fundraising skills to secure donations from wealthy benefactors. She also served as a mentor to young people, sharing her wisdom and experience. Marcus, eager to atone for his past sins, volunteered his architectural expertise to design sustainable and affordable housing projects. He used his skills to create beautiful and functional living spaces that enhanced the quality of life for residents. He found redemption and purpose in using his talents for the benefit of others. The Hayes Foundation quickly gained recognition for its innovative approach to community development. Its programs were replicated in other cities, becoming a model for effective philanthropy. Ethanol Hayes became a respected figure in the philanthropic world, lauded for his commitment to social justice and his ability to empower communities. But success did not come without its challenges. Ethan faced resistance from powerful vested interests who sought to maintain the status quo. He encountered bureaucratic red tape, political opposition, and the ingrained cynicism of those who believed that change was impossible. He also struggled with his own past. The shadow of his father's crimes continued to haunt him, fueling self-doubt and a fear that his efforts would never be enough. He felt a constant pressure to prove himself, to demonstrate that he was worthy of the trust and admiration he had earned. He found solace in his relationships with his mother and, increasingly, with his father. They provided him with unwavering support, reminding him of the importance of his work and encouraging him to persevere in the face of adversity. He learned to accept his past, to forgive himself for his mistakes, and to focus on building a better future. One day, while visiting a community center in a newly renovated housing complex, Ethan met a young girl named Lily. Lily was a bright, articulate student who dreamed of becoming a doctor. But she lacked the resources and opportunities to pursue her ambitions. Ethan was deeply moved by Lily's story. He saw in her the potential for greatness, the unwavering spirit that could overcome any obstacle. He vowed to help her achieve her dreams. He established a scholarship fund in Lily's name, providing her with the financial support she needed to attend a prestigious boarding school. He mentored her, offering guidance and encouragement. He became a father figure to her, providing her with the love and support she had always lacked. Lily thrived in the new environment. She excelled in her studies, proving to be a gifted and dedicated student. She became a role model for other children in her community, demonstrating that anything was possible with hard work and determination. Lily's success became a symbol of hope for the entire community. It demonstrated that change was possible, that even the most disadvantaged children could achieve their dreams with the right support. It solidified Ethanol Hayes' legacy as a champion of social justice and a builder of communities. Years passed. The Hayes Foundation continued to expand its reach, impacting the lives of countless individuals and communities. Ethan remained at the helm, guiding the organization with his unwavering commitment to social justice. Eleanor, in her later years, became a beloved figure in the community, known for her wisdom, her compassion, and her unwavering support for the Foundation's work. She passed away peacefully, surrounded by her family and loved ones, leaving behind a legacy of kindness and grace. Marcus, having fully atoned for his past sins, became a respected architect once again, designing sustainable and affordable housing projects around the world. He worked closely with Ethan, often traveling with him to visit the communities they had helped to transform. He died a year after Eleanor, reunited with his wife in death, having finally earned her forgiveness and respect. Ethan, having achieved a remarkable level of philanthropic success, began to think about his own legacy. He realized that his greatest accomplishment was not simply the financial contributions he had made, but the relationships he had fostered and the lives he had touched. He established an endowment to ensure the long-term sustainability of the Hayes Foundation, ensuring that his work would continue to impact future generations. He also wrote a memoir, detailing his journey from privileged son to philanthropic leader. He shared his struggles, his triumphs, and his lessons learned, hoping to inspire others to use their resources and talents to make a difference in the world. The memoir became a bestseller, earning critical acclaim and widespread recognition. It was translated into multiple languages and used as a textbook in universities around the world. Ethan eventually married Maria, the social worker he had met at the community center years ago. They had several children, who grew up to be compassionate and socially conscious individuals. He lived a life filled with purpose, meaning, and love. He learned that true happiness is not found in material possessions or social status, but in the connections we forge with others and the impact we have on the world. He died peacefully at the age of 85, surrounded by his family and loved ones. His funeral was a celebration of his life, attended by dignitaries, community leaders, and countless individuals whose lives he had touched. Ethan Hayes' legacy lived on, not only through the Hayes Foundation, but through the countless individuals he had inspired and empowered. His story became a symbol of hope, demonstrating that even in the face of betrayal, tragedy, and adversity, it is possible to find redemption, to build a better world, and to leave behind a lasting legacy of love, compassion, and social justice. Decades after Ethan's death, this grandchild, Sarah, now a young lawyer, stood before the Hayes Foundation board. She spoke passionately about expanding the foundation's focus to address systemic inequalities in the education system, inspired by her grandfather's dedication to empowering underprivileged communities. She understood that Hayes Manor had fallen. But the foundation he had rebuilt stood tall.